Hello and welcome to Mr. Thompson's Math Tutorials. Today we're going to learn how to add decimals. Okay, so when I'm adding decimals, basically it's not that different than adding whole numbers. And in fact, one of the first things that I need you to do is that I need you to absolutely do an estimation before you do this. And I like to do sort of a range estimation. In other words, I'm going to round this up to 4, this 3.6, I'm going to round it to 4, and this 1.5 I'm going to round to 2. So that's on the high end, I'm going to get an estimation that this should be 6. And then on the low end, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to round this to 3, and I'm going to round 1.5 to 1. So on the low end, this should be 4. So that tells me that my answer to this question should be somewhere between 4 to 6, or 6 to 4. Okay, so it's got to be somewhere in between here. Okay, so the first thing we need to do when we add decimals is we have to make sure that we line up the decimals. In fact, I like the saying that if you keep your decimals in a line, you will do fine. So I'm going to start by adding and setting up this as a vertical problem. So 3.6 I'm putting on top, and I'm putting 1.5 on the bottom, and I'm making sure that I write my decimal in the actual answer. So in the sum, all my decimals should line up. This is so incredibly important. Okay, at this point I can add, and really this is just like adding 36 and 15. I'm going to add my 6 and 5, so that would be 11. So I'm going to carry my 1 up here. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And my answer is reasonable because 5.1 is between 6 and 4. So that shows me that this is a reasonable answer. Let's look at another example. So once again, I'm going to do an estimation. On the high end, I'm going to say that I'm going to round this up to 15 plus 3. So that's the high end. So that means that this is 18 on the high end. And on the low end, I'm going to call this 14 plus 2, and so 16. So that tells me that my range should be between 16 to 18. So somewhere in between. That's going to give me a reasonable answer. So I've got to line up my decimals again. So 14.3. I'm going to line up my decimals. So that's going to be 205. Okay, and then I make sure that my decimal is lined up in my sum. One of the biggest mistakes that students make are what I'm going to do over here in red. So I often see as a mistake this sort of thing. Notice that the decimals are not in a line. That's going to cause you problems. Okay, so let's add here. Now, one of the things I need to do is I need to fill in this empty place right here with the 0. I can add as many zeros as I'd like, but I'm going to fill in that empty place with a 0. Now I'm going to add 0 plus 5 is 5. 3 plus 0 is 3. 4 plus 2 is 16, and then I've got a 1. Okay, and I can see that this is 16.35, which is reasonable because it's between my range estimate up top there. All right, one more quick example. This one does not involve whole numbers. It involves only decimals. So I have 700ths here, and I have 35 thousandths here. And I need to add these together. Now, I can kind of still do a range estimate. I know that I have 300ths and I have 700ths. So 300ths plus 700ths would give me basically 1/10. So I know that my answer should be around 1/10. Okay, so now I'm going to solve this. Again, I'm going to line up my decimals and then simply add. Okay, so lining up my decimals first, and then in the sum, okay, I've got my 700ths, and then I'm putting in my 35 thousandths. Okay, I'm going to fill in this empty space right here, and then I can start adding. So 0 plus 5 is 5. 7 plus 3, so 700ths plus 300ths would be 10 hundredths, which is actually 1/10. So I carry my 1 up here. 1 plus 0 plus 0 is 1. Okay, and I can see that I get 0.105, or 105 thousandths. Thank you for watching.